Good afternoon. Can everyone hear me? Is everyone tired here or they're okay? Quick exercise. Can everyone just stand up, please? Everyone stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. Thank you. I just wanted to see if you guys would do it. You can sit back down. So when Njoku reached out earlier this year, come and speak at TEDx, inspire, real weighty subjects which aren't normally in my frame of thinking. I thought about what could I really say that could actually make any kind of difference. There's been a lot written about how far we've come as a company in a relatively short period of time. But I actually want to go back before that. I actually want to speak about failure. And I've basically lived the life of failure. If you can walk with me from like when I was born to sort of when I started Njoku Partners and what's happened from there. My birthday's in a couple of weeks, December the 11th. I was born, thank you. A few weeks after I was born, my dad left my mum. So I've never met my dad before. If anyone knows African parents, they know that the men have egos, ambitions, overbearing in terms of what they want their children to do. I have no concept of that. In the early 90s, they used to sort of ship kids back who were sort of like bad for like re-education programming. Yeah, that was me. So as I was leaving to come to TEDx yesterday, my mum reminded me that when I was 7, she said that she wanted to get a color TV and a VHS. In my naivety, I said, you know what, Mum, keep on dreaming. Because at that time, we were just like poor. She saved up for 2 years for deposit. Just a deposit so she can get a VHS and a TV. This was like 1987, so this stuff was like expensive. So I spent 3 or 4 years out in Nigeria. There's an adage, I think it goes, spare the rod, spoil the child. Yeah. It's alive and well and kicking in the east part of Nigeria. No, so they literally beat, or some would say, trained me. It's a Western audience, people. I've got to be real. So they trained me to. So they trained me to be humble. They trained me to work hard. But unfortunately, when I came back, I actually was 3 or 4 years behind my peers. So fast forward to 2002, I was 21. I started University of Manchester, the first person in my family ever, until this day, to ever go to university. Up until I graduated, my mum didn't really know what I did. I studied chemistry. She was like, biochemistry, medicine. I said, no, Mum, it's not medicine. Just the chemistry part. So for 3 years, I was at university. I graduated in 2005. As you can imagine, as a Nigerian parent, she said, that's it. She'll retire just about now. All it comes is mortgage, grandkids. You know your Nigerian parents. You know the drill. But I wanted to do something else. At that point in time, I built up what I believe was like a core confidence that someone had rubber stamped that I wasn't restricted to being just some poor kid from Southeast London. If you know Southeast London, Peeps Estate, that's basically where I was born. So I was not restricted to that. Someone would give me like a certificate to say, you know what, Jason, go onto the world and do great things, as they do at university. So I then spent the next 5.5, 6 years reversing, making my mum cry pretty much every single year. And what I did was that I focused on entrepreneurship, or whatever I believed that to be. And I was a spectacular failure, a certified failure. So from 2005 to 2010, I was just a complete failure. And when people talk about failure, like, what is failure? It's personal. People fear failure, but what they really fear is a shame. The shame from their peers, the expectations of their parents, the expectations of what their peers are doing at any particular time, be it promotions, be it mortgages, be it getting married, be it whatever it is, there's some sort of expectation that you're not meeting up with your peers. Let me tell you some of my stories of failure. So if anyone, there may be some people here from Manchester, I was technically homeless for like 10 months, 2007. So I ran a student magazine. As part of the magazine, it was like, you know, it's kind of cool to be like the guy who's a bit homeless, couch to couch. It was kind of cool. It was humiliating, but it was cool. Students have that capacity to sort of rationalize everything. For 3 years, I couldn't even get a bank account. Up until 2010, I actually couldn't get a bank account. There was a wave of consumer electronics, consumption, fashion, all sorts of beautiful things that largely passed me by. I actually couldn't even get a contract SIM. Till today, I still use pay-as-you-go because no one would give me one. True story. Like, I worked 18 hours a day for nothing. And because I was scared that people would label me a failure, I tried to hide that failure. To the point where, like, you just basically couldn't. So in 2010, I was just, like, broke. And when I mean broke, I'm literally like, I left London 2002, went to university, yada, yada, yada. 2010, I moved back in with my mom. As a Nigerian parent, you can imagine what her expectations were at that point. Is crying, you know, extra tired, Thanksgiving, prayer. Something must be responsible for this. But in my darkest times, in amongst everything which had happened to me over the 5-year period, pretty much every single one of my peers had outpaced me in like every metric. I was broke, I was living with my mom. I was still in the game. I still woke up, I still could laugh, I still could smile. You know, I still can get annoyed at most things. I might not have any money, but it's the same thing, right? So what I found was that in amongst that failure, I'd somehow just embraced it. Like, human beings have amazing capacity to normalize things. An amazing capacity to normalize things. So if you live in, like, or if you wallow in just, like, failure, it becomes normal. So for me, it became normal. And in it becoming normal, it basically enabled me to just live with it. So I'm broke, no stable girlfriend for the last 8 years, because who dates the poor guy? The true story, man. Just telling you how it is. So what that enabled me to do was to be completely unshackled from risk. Like, I have nothing to lose, so whatever. So at that point in time, I came across like so Njoku was my 11th company, and I was like, oh my God, this is the one, Mum, this is the big time. I had no money. I've actually never put a single penny of my money into Njoku because I never had any. My best friend of 10 years, Mr. Bastian Goddard, who sits there in the crowd, I somehow convinced him, be it based on, this guy's a believer, a certified... I asked my Nigerian friends, hey, you know, I'm doing this thing in Nollywood, Nigerian movies, kick some money, and they were like, no. Over the course of 2010, Bastian basically like liquidated his life savings. And it's not spare cash lying around. He'd been working for 5 or 6 years at a time. He sold like everything. And we're talking up to $150,000 for someone who's basically younger than me. And his belief was that I had failed enough. You know. So on the 1st of December 2010, I was broke. I'd recently just moved back to Nigeria, courtesy of Bank of Bastion. And every single person thought I was mad. Now, Bastian's German. Everyone was like, wait. Nigeria, the internet, he's moving to Lagos? Well, you got the email, right? So you guys know how it sounds. It was absolute madness. But again, like, I had failed enough. There's a point where if you just keep on failing, nothing matters anymore. It literally just doesn't matter anymore. And why I talk about failure is that every single day, even today as I've been walking around, people ask me, how did you do it? What made you do it? And the interesting thing is that I've been all around the world, and young black guys ask me, and girls, of course, sorry. So guys are like, right? So, and they ask me, man, I want to do that too. And my answer is really simple. Well, why don't you? Why don't you? And these guys are smarter than I. I submit that most people in this room are smarter than me. And what I realize is that the world is full of people who are really, really smart, but they're letting themselves they're holding themselves back. So I came up with this theory of it's emotional capital. It's like a bank balance. It starts from 0. You do something, you fail, you get back up again. It's a little deposit. You do something again, you fail, you get back up again. There's a little more of a deposit. There's a point where you earn the respect of your peers just by working hard, just by staying at it. There is a point where people just think, this guy is going to be spectacularly successful or mad. The jury's still out on me. And with this emotional capital, you're unshackled from what people expect you to do. Now, what we've done in the UK, because I can only talk about my own experiences even. The UK have done an amazing job of creating a professional middle class. Lawyers, bankers, doctors, accountants, consultants. Beautiful, amazing. Not really, but... but the problem is, our culture, our parents especially, they actually discourage us from finding what we really and truly want to do. And using terms from the internet, there has been trillions of dollars of value created everywhere. In the US, in South America, in Asia, in India, in Europe, in the UK. Nothing in Africa. Well, why? We look at Facebook, we use Twitter, Foursquare, YY, Yandex, Google, Yahoo, like eBay. Where do we even start? All of these companies were started by young people. And where did these young people come from? Stanford, Harvard, Princeton, Yale, the list goes on. The elite of the world, wherever they are creating amazing companies, except for Africa. Now, my big bet was, I jump on a plane, I could figure stuff out, and the opportunities there would just figure themselves out as well. So fast forward today. I think today is Njoku TV's first birthday. And the key takeaway for me is that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of leaders of tomorrow. I talk in internet terms because that's what I know. But there are leaders in politics. There are leaders in sort of social enterprise. There are leaders in all sorts of things, but the problem is that they are scared to take that step forward. They are scared of failure. You know, Nigerians, we know packaging, so we'll package ourselves. So, even if there's nothing in your bag, you're sort of bouncing out there. You go to the club, they're sort of using their credit cards to buy bottles of champagne because that's just how we do up there, right? No matter how much you package it, no matter how much you hide it, failure is failure is failure. The more we embrace it, the more we're honest with ourselves, the more easy we can move on. Because it breaks my heart that there's a revolution waiting to happen in Africa. If someone like me can achieve what I've done in such a short period of time, think of what would happen if you actual smart people with a bit of educational training, professional things, go out there and do something. Every single job I've got, I've been fired from. So I'm just a bad person, right? So I think the more we have open discussions about failure, the more we embrace them, the more as a culture we accept them, the more people actually can spend time jumping on planes. Because there's always an excuse. Oh, next year. Oh, I haven't got enough money. There's always an excuse. And I think we've gone beyond the excuses point. So when it comes to things like media, technology, things which require like some sort of specialist knowledge, although I had none, so again, complete luck. Anything which actually requires us to basically just have balls, yeah, basically. That is where we're actually going to sort of see the big change. Nigeria has a massive unemployment problem. They are churning graduates out left, right, and center with no jobs. The government's not going to fix this. There's been a lot of talk about, obviously, social entrepreneurship. I think that's fine. We have like 80 people in Lagos. We pay them well. We're bringing internet jobs. I've never made any money in Nigeria. I make money from the rest of the world and bring it to Nigeria. In as much as I live on planes, I find the rest of the world just sterile. In as much as Nigeria and Africa seems quite scary, it's not. Because what's the worst that's going to happen? You fail. But there's tomorrow. And I think when I started at least, I never saw anyone who looked like me. There was no Montails who looked like me. I'll go onto Amazon, I'll buy all sorts of books, I'll read them, consume them, and everyone had a story. Almost bankrupt. Business was about to be taken over by somebody. There was always some sort of challenge to overcome. And I think the key thing is that if we can open up the debate within ourselves, that failure is just okay. It's just okay. So today's the 1st of December 2012. Who knows Njoku TV? Does anyone? Thank you. So, in the space of 2 years, we now have offices there's 3 countries. We just opened up 2 in Africa this month. We have over 100 employees. Again, I'm surprised at this. If someone would have asked me 10 years ago, would I be up here speaking to you guys? No way. Why? So, I'm a certified failure. You are smarter than me. Go out there and be brilliant. Thank you.